Hello guys, Gary here, aka Gaz-D-Projects. What am I doing here? Going for a spin today. A good friend of mine, Paul from HRE. We just did a few bobs to the bikes themselves. We'll take a look and see what we've been up to so far. Okay, so this is my one. So what we've done here is we put on a Holotech bottom bracket here on the back. Nice SLX rear mech there on the back. I think we've done a bit of engineering here to the headset area. You can see this nice lump of aluminium here Paul has engineered on the CNC machine. A few bits and bobs here. It'll be interesting to see how it rides. We're bringing for a quick ride and nice comfortable saddle. The arse just gets sore after a while. And we have Paul's bike over here. Kind of did something similar to the headset here. Did a little bit of machining here just to make sure that this all went together nicely. There was a little bit of an indiscrepancy in regards to fitting the bearings and stuff like that. That's all tied in now. We got a lovely drivetrain here. Got the SRAM NX Eagle, I think it is, rear mech with the 10-speed cassette, single speed on the front there. Lovely machine. Got her all dialed in with the gears. She's running real nice now. We're going to bring her for a nice spin and see how she holds up. So without further ado, we're going to go for a spin and we'll catch back with you guys later on. Take her handy. Take her handy, guys. Well guys, we just come back from a spin. The bike's held up really well. Did manage to come off towards the end there with a scaved knee there.
No, it's not going to be a mountain bike spin.
Camera picked that up.
Bit of knee, yeah.
It's my first bit of MTB christening right there. So the bike's held up very well, especially my one. The shocks worked out really well. Nice travel on them. The rigid tail was good on some of the berms up here in Ticknock in Dublin. Worked out real well. A few little fine adjustments maybe on the gearing, on the synchronization of the gears and stuff, and a little bit of oil here and there. The slight buckle in the back wheel there might have hit a rock or two, so I'll adjust that and fix that up. Paul's bike, so Paul contacted me and said I need to get my bike back on the road. What parts, bits and bobs do you think would work well? So between myself and Paul we put together kind of a bike part list, and we came up with a lovely drivetrain here. As you can see, it's the SRAM NX there. First drivetrain, and only the one ring on it, and she's 12 speed. I mentioned 10 speed before, but she's actually 12 speed, whereas I think my rear cassette is 9 or 10, and Paul was powering up those hills much easier than I was.
Safe to say Gary might be going to get himself a 12-speed
most definitely
SRAM rear mech.
Most definitely, yeah, because it's just torture. Hence the mess right here, the sweat, etc. We did a bit of machine test. I might actually take the camera off Paul, and Paul might just briefly talk to you about what we did here, because it's actually very clever, very impressive stuff.
Sure.
Let's grab that.
Well, I suppose the fairest thing to say is we ordered the wrong parts, really, that's the truth. So my bike is a Trek which has an E2 headset. We bought, I suppose, the headset to suit 1.5 lower steer or 1.8 top tube, but Treks themselves have actually a very specific dimension in here, and we didn't have the cup. There's a aluminium cup that presses in here. We didn't have the cup to take the bearing, so what we did was we basically just turned up our own bearing holder cup. You can probably see it much better on this bike, because
the aluminium cup,
we found exactly the same problem. This is on 1.8" and 1.5, but this is the bearing cup we turned up for it. So in my machine shop we put together a new bearing cup for the front of it, and now the bikes are able to have their headsets done. There's a bit of funny trickery going on with both of these bikes. This bike, for example, is supposed to have a what's called a skewer axle going through it, and these Fox 30, these are Fox 32 floats on a 26-inch fork, but they're not meant to have or are not meant to run this size of a wheel. That's a 20mm true axle wheel. So what we did was we slimmed the wheel down, so we made it narrower. We built a set of bushings to go inside the wheel, and then we've locked the wheel together with a 10mm true axle.
Get close up that there, because this is actually very impressive. It's kind of a quick on the fly kind of fix. You can see it's a solid
Yeah, you might see it probably better there. You can see the nylon bushing that we made on the inside.
Right here, yeah.
It's going through here, and then we got our 10mm through axle. So
and you can see on the other side, nice hex head bolts.
Run these big, massive crank butter tubeless wheels.
Even the rotors on them are a nice.
Yeah, it's got a 203 Hope floating rotor with the well, I think it's an SLX caliper. Yeah, SLX caliper, and then we're running XT levers then up here. So
these are really nice. I actually got a chance to ride this bike, and these levers,
they're
amazing. Really nice, very accurate, very smooth. We actually came up with a kind of an ingenious way to bleed up these brakes as well.
Yeah, we didn't have the £3 million Shimano bleeding kit, so we just used a bunch of syringes. Maybe actually one of the days, these are going to need a bleed soon anyway, so what we might do is get a bit of video footage for Gary's channel of how we actually bled these ourselves.
Yeah, because it was brilliant.
Using 7 different syringes and lots of pump and squeeze, but no, it worked well. Yeah, so yeah, this bike, I have to say, I'm super impressed. We've just been up the trails here in Ticknock. I haven't ridden this bike in probably 4 years, or maybe even more. But with this new drivetrain and the bit of mods we've done, it is a really capable bike. I mean, nowadays people are on mountain bikes with 27.5-inch wheels or 29-inch wheels and huge big 38s or 36mm forks. But you know, this is a bike from back in the 2012-2013 era. I raced this bike a bit back then, and I still absolutely love it. It's a phenomenal machine. We fitted it with the dropper seat post, which is a really
nice
handy
touch
addition. It's lovely for just tricking the trails. It's running, I think we have the Mountain Kings on it. Yeah, Continental Mountain Kings. And a Baron on the front. And man, they are phenomenal. I am so impressed with the lightness of this bike and the versatility of it. It's fantastic. And in fairness, this on one. That's a carbon on one frame that Gary has built up.
Yeah, because I'm used to riding aluminium frames, but this carbon fibre frame is very strong.
Very rigid, right?
Very lightweight, very strong, and you can definitely notice it on the ride. It's more responsive. Not to say that an aluminium frame isn't.
No, they're good.
Equally as good.
There's some interesting trickery actually on this bike as well. These are a set of brakes I used to run, and I've donated them to Gary's bike build. Yeah. So these are the very original Hope 1 lever system with the reservoirs. These are kind of a take on the old Hope brakes that used to be running motocross, but I never liked, they had a 4-piston caliper for these that I never really liked. It wasn't nice. So what we did was we mated them up with Avid Elixir ores from their SRAM Avid Elixir ore rear caliper. Have a little notice of the absolute massive stack of washers that's going on there.
I just noticed that, yeah, oh my god.
We have a job to do there.
Wow, so we might machine a bit of pushing or something.
We'll have to go to the workshop and make up some spacers, I think. So yeah, that's the story. We had a good little ride, we're up in Ticknock and we had a bit of fun. And yeah, hopefully next time you see us, maybe we'll be fixing up all the problems that we found. And yeah, I'll pass you back over to Gary now and he can finish it out.
Excellent stuff. Right guys, so as we mentioned, we basically built these two bikes together to go ride and get ourselves back into shape because the COVID stone is taking a while to shift. I hope you guys enjoyed this little kind of intro into where we're at the moment with the bikes and MTB, etc. I have been busy behind the scenes, hence the kind of break there from more uploads and videos and stuff like that. The room is nearly ready. I have all the lights put in, sockets, etc. A bit of painting to do. I have to build a bench and stuff, but the room is nearly ready, and I've got new bike stands and all, so it'll be real nice when it's done. So hey guys, I just wanted to touch base on the bit of machining we did on the two bikes, the carbon fibre and Paul's Trek. So we had the idea basically of covering a bit of footage on how we machined the aluminium cups and how we put them down to size so they'd fit with the bearings, etc. And then we will be looking at creating the spacer or bush for the rear caliper on my bike. So what I'll try and do is I'll try and get a video of that going forward for you guys so you can see how we tackled that particular problem, and we'll see how that holds up then on further rides. So just in reference to any kind of machining or engineering, anything like that going forward, we'll try and get it on video because it's always good for other people to see how we basically came across these problems and found solutions to them. So we want to make sure that you guys get to see that. The other thing as well is the MTB bikes, we've been paying close attention, more so myself, to the likes of internal kind of geared hubs in reference to roll-off and Shimano. Going forward with e-bikes, the pros and cons of, say, a mid-mounted motor to a roll-off hub, the gearing, the ratios, and the actual output, the torque outputs, and the Bosch systems as well on the mid-mounted motor. So we might get a chance to look at that down the road. So stay tuned for more, and we'll try and cover the technical aspects and the pros and cons, especially when riding in different kind of inclement kind of seasons and weather, etc. So there's big kind of leaps and bounds in regards to the technology in the hub section, internal geared hub section, especially when it comes to belt driven systems as well. Personally, I think the belt driven systems will be much better, way better, stronger, more reliable, less maintenance, and they probably outlast your typical chain, and then you wouldn't have to worry about wear and tear and stretch, etc. So it's definitely one to keep an eye open for, and I'm paying close attention to the advances in these technologies. So I would love to get my hands on a Bosch motor and pull it apart and see what kind of way it's built and components, what way it's sealed, how does it hold up against water ingress, etc. So I think down the road, what we'll do is we will try and see if we can maybe get our hands on a e-bike and bring it for a spin on some trails and see how it holds up in comparison to your standard MTB push bike. So yeah, so as always guys, I hope you enjoyed the content. Stay tuned for more by hitting that notification bell for your latest videos, and subscribe, and look after yourselves, take it easy, and hope to see you guys real soon.